Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. The Canadiens did not get things done in game 2. They take a 3-2 loss in overtime against the Carolina Hurricanes here, and it's definitely a tough one. Not what you love to see there. I feel like the Canadiens just kind of sat back a little bit in this one. They didn't really have the great first period that they had in previous games leading up to this one. Obviously, like 3 games previous to this, we all had great first periods, multi-goal first periods that we either did or did not defend the lead in after the fact. But in this one, it just kind of looked slow. Didn't really get stuff done throughout most of this game here. We have pretty much nobody but Jakub Dobeš and Josh Anderson to thank for their efforts in this one. Everybody else was just a little bit behind the game. I feel like it was definitely probably the worst game that the Canadiens have played in this playoffs. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say that, but it looked very similar to what happened in Game 7 against the Tampa Bay Lightning in round 1, but at the same time, it was also just kind of like a situation where we're not in the lead, we're not protecting the leads, we can't really celebrate the fact that we're in the game. We're just kind of just hoping to get anything to happen here. We ended up with a grand total of 12 shots on net in this entire game that also went to overtime. I don't think we shot a single puck on net in that overtime frame either. So yeah, it was 0 shots in overtime, 2 shots in the first period. Our best period was the third period, so that was something to latch onto a little bit, but only 7 shots in that period. We definitely got owned in this game as a whole. Not much to really latch onto, so it's definitely unfortunate. Yeah, I just felt like we weren't really getting things, like the passes just seemed off. Like it felt very much like the Buffalo series where we were getting pressured very, very hard, and letting the pressure get to us in our defensive zone, which kind of burnt us a little bit. And it was just kind of just nothing was really going the way that I wanted it to go, that the Canadians, I assume, would want it to go. So yeah, it was just not a great game. It starts off 2 minutes 33 seconds in. Robinson scores another goal. This is a guy who literally I didn't know existed at all until this series, and now he's got 2 goals in the series. So he's somebody you got to watch out for, I guess. But he gets a really nice tip, like across his body, on kind of a weak shot. Like it's just kind of trickling in. Dobeš is like sliding over to just kind of corral that puck and put it towards the corner or something. And then he gets a really nice tip, which tips it right back across to the other side of the goal and just sneaks in past the post and past Dobeš. A tough one to let in. That's not one that you would love to have go against you there, but that's exactly what happens. So yeah, I feel like maybe Dobeš like overcommitted a little bit to that puck, but I think mostly what it was is just just unlucky, and a good tip by him. So a tough way to go, but also like to this point, like it was exactly how it was in game 1, where we were definitely getting hemmed in, a lot of pressure coming our way, and we weren't really able to to get rush chances going the other way like we were in game 1. They were really clamped down on that, and just the Canadians just didn't really have the same kind of fire that I felt like we did going into game 1. But Josh Anderson comes back the other way and responds a little over halfway through the first period. He gets his 4th goal of the postseason. It's a really nice play all the way around. It starts with Caden Gooley stepping up in the play and intercepting a breakout pass. He kind of walks in looking like he's going to shoot the puck, but he gives it over to Phil Deneau. Phil Deneau makes a nice pass across the ice to Josh Anderson, who kind of puts this one on net. I think it goes off of a stick or a skate of a Carolina defender and up over top of Freddie Anderson there. So really nice way to respond, and what a series and what a playoffs Phil Deneau is having, and Josh Anderson as well. But Josh Anderson gets his 4th goal here, but Phil Deneau gets his 7th assist of the postseason here. That's super impressive from Phil Deneau. He's been very good. He's been like getting multi-point games in a lot of these games recently. He's coming alive here. Is exactly why we traded for him. So it's good to see that. Caden Gooley's playing some really great hockey right now. He gets his 8th assist on that goal. I feel like he's playing some of the best hockey of his career right now, so that is obviously good to see. So I like what everything is going on there, offensively, once we actually like get pucks towards the net. And like I think in this one, like you have to take a page out of Josh Anderson's book. Like it's just a lot of guys in the whole game, but a lot of like early on, I felt like a lot of our guys are skilled guys are trying to be too skilled with the puck. We have skill, and I understand that, and we should use that skill, but at the same time, like too many times we're trying to, make the extra pass work. We're trying to force something to happen, and just not working out the way we want it to, and we just end up not getting shots on net in the whole game here because we're just trying too hard to make things happen, and then pucks get blocked, and it just doesn't really work out as a whole there. So frustrating, but we come out of the first period tied at 1 somehow. We will definitely take that considering the way that first period went. Just a lot more chances from Carolina's end than from our own. Dobish had to be strong, of course. Going into the second period, we got burnt on a nice play by Ehlers. He kind of just splits the D a little bit. It's not really splitting the D. Lane Hudson was in front of him the whole time, but he just kind of sweeps the puck around Lane Hudson after he goes through Hudson and Cole, kind of on either side of him on his front and back there. He slips the puck past Lane Hudson. It goes through the 5-hole of Dobech. It's a really nice play from Ehlers. You can't really blame anybody too much for that one. You would like to see a little bit more pressure, maybe some more of a back check there from some other guys to prevent that situation from happening in the first place. But even more than that, it's just like there's just way too much pressure coming from Carolina that we're not able to answer. And they just get way too much time going downhill on us as opposed to having to defend. And I feel like, if we're a little bit more aggressive and use our offense to our advantage a little bit more, as we've been talking about over the last 2 videos here, we don't really put ourselves in that position anyway. Like, it's a great goal, and I'm not really blaming anybody. Like, it was a great shot, great goal from Ehlers there, but, we have to be a little bit more, in their end of the ice. If we do that more, then he probably doesn't even get a chance to go in on goal like that because he's probably getting off for a change, like what our top guys are doing all the time. So it's just that's just the general consensus of this whole game. It's just we spent way too much time in our own zone in this game, and especially when we had, our star players out there on the ice, we spent way too much time with Cole Caulfield, Slavkovsky, and Suzuki in our own defensive zone, chasing the puck around. Just way too much cardio going on for those top guys, and not enough chances in the offense, in the offensive zone, getting pucks on net, and it burns us. It burns us every time we're, in these playoff games here. It feels like it's becoming a big theme is that the Canadiens can't get the puck out of their own zone, and they're very susceptible getting overloaded. That's another example in this whole game here. It's just that happening over and over again. So frustrating, but we're down 2-1 after 2, and then some dumb penalties come at the end of the second period. The Texier thing, I don't love that. I don't really know what his intention was. Like, I'm choosing to believe from a biased perspective that Texier was not intending to get his stick into that area of Keandre Miller there. But it certainly did look like he wanted to take a jab at his cup there. So I don't really know. I don't know what the thought was there. I would love to see a different angle to see if maybe he was just trying to get a check on the stick and just missed or something like that. But it really did look like it was just not a very smart play and not a very nice one either. So I don't really know what the thought was there, but it was just an unnecessary penalty no matter what. Frustrating, especially considering it came right after a really great chance from Nick Suzuki at the end of the period, which could have tied things up. But he got, a stick got caught up in his stick, and he wasn't able to get a shot away on that little breakaway opportunity. So we go down 2-1. We start the third on the penalty kill. We kill off the penalty. Did a pretty nice job on the penalty kill throughout this game, which is good. It's just, the rest of the game, like the entire game, in a lot of ways, just felt like we were killing a penalty because there was just so much pressure coming down at us. It was just, unreal, the amount of, pressure that they put on the Canadiens the entire game. We were just stuck in our zone over and over and over again. Every time we were in there, we just try to get anything done. We get the puck, and then we just make a bad pass. We kind of back pass things and, allow the Canes to get more pressure on our D, and it just happens over and over again. It just felt like this game was just a perpetual cycle of the Canadiens failing to get out of their own zone and then just staying in their own zone for a minute in a row. Dobish having to make big saves, the guys having to make big blocks, and Slavkovsky, got a block shot that hurt him at one point. I think in overtime, Lane Hudson got hurt by something, and that's never good to see. So I like our defense are just getting pounded in this entire game, and our offense is not doing their job well enough to be in the offensive zone and get goals obviously, but also just relieve the pressure a little bit. And I feel like if we're gonna win this series, we need to do a better job in that category. So in the third period though, we get some good news. Josh Anderson double dips in this game. He gets his 5th goal of the season, and again, it's just everybody's got to take a page out of this guy's book because all he does is just he gets the puck, he puts his head down, skates down the ice, gets a shot on net, and then goes to the net hard, looks for a rebound. That's exactly what happens in this one. He makes a nice move, gets the puck to the net, lots of jam play going on, and finally, Josh Anderson finds the puck and jams it past Freddie Anderson to tie things up in the dying stages of the third period there. And again, like everybody else needs to be taking a page out of Josh Anderson's book. I understand that guys like Cole Caulfield and Slavkovsky and Demidov are all very skilled players, but at the same time, like we cannot be, trying to make things happen all fancy. Like this is the Stanley Cup playoffs. You can't, you're not going to score off of fancy goals. Sometimes you just have to go to the net and jam away at a puck and try to find a way to score. And that's exactly what we needed to do. It's exactly what Carolina did. They just kind of jammed the puck at us and just put it down our throat and just hope that something goes through. And eventually it did, obviously. But Josh Anderson, we need to do more of that. Throughout all of our line. Just get the puck on net, take a page out of Carolina's book in a lot of ways with just putting the puck on net and seeing what happens. And but Josh Anderson, great play there. I like that for his 5th goal of the postseason. Carrier gets his 6th assist, and Phil Deneau, another assist to get him up to 8 on the playoffs. So again, he's having an incredible postseason. It continues to be a really, really vital piece to us. I just, I just wish that more lines on this team were playing the way that those guys are, because then we might be in a different position at the end of 2 games in this series here. But nonetheless, we just spend the rest of the third, and we had some good chances in the third. We definitely could have got another cheeky goal in to win that one there. Would have been nice, but again, in overtime, it was kind of a similar story. It's just like they just kept coming down at us over and over and over again. It just looked like they had so much more energy than the Canadians did. The Canadians just looked like they were just like desperate to get something to bounce their way so that they could get out of this with a win. But that's not going to happen, especially not in the playoffs. The Canes just kept coming down over and over and over again. As I mentioned before, the shots in overtime 2-0 in favor of the Canes. I would imagine that the possession timers in the overtime were very much in favor of the Canes there. We just got absolutely nothing done in overtime. They just kept coming at us over and over again, and finally they get a stretch pass that goes their way. Matheson tries to get off for a change, and then he can't, and Dobson's not quite on his guy like he needs to be, and then Ehlers just takes a really nice shot. He had a great game in this one, and he beats Dobesh in overtime to tie this series up 1 game apiece. So unfortunate. I think that's a real wake up call for the Canadians overall, is that like you're not going to be able to get away with some of the play that we got away with against Buffalo, in terms of like these games are going to be tight. They're coming at us just like Buffalo is doing, but they're arguably better. They're more consistent in the way that they play, and we knew that was going to happen. But at the same time, like the Canadians need to know that they need to be better on both ends of the ice in Game 3 in front of the home crowd if they want to take the lead back in this series here. So it'll be an interesting one. I think it's just like, again, like the biggest thing for me, the biggest takeaway that I saw in this entire game is that the Canadians just don't really seem to have the same energy level. Obviously, there's a difference in the amount of games played. It does, take a toll on our guys there. We've played, like 3 more games in each series than the Canes have in this playoff, series here, but it's just like the Canadians need to find a way to get second gear. We need to find a way to just play in the offensive zone more. I feel like the entire game today, we did not at any point in the game have any real extended zone time. It just felt like all of our chances were kind of fleeting. We were kind of beating ourselves by making too many passes and getting stuff blocked or whatever, and then we'd spend the rest of our shift in the defensive zone just trying to find a way to get out, and then we can't even get out of the zone. Like we're stuck in the zone because we can't find a way to make a break out. We're stuck behind our net, and then we just can't get anything to go. And when we finally do get the puck, we're going in, and then we make a bad pass, and all of a sudden we're back in our own defensive zone. It was just a cycle of that over and over and over again. And you know dang well that the Canes are going to come at us the exact same way in Game 3. They're going to put it down our throats. They're going to want to silence that loud crowd that's going to show up on Monday night, and we're going to have to be ready for that because, you know, the Canes are a very solid team. They want to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals just as bad as the Canadiens do. You know, they've been knocking on the doorstep of that, you know, a number of times over the past few years, and they have not gotten over the hump. They just won a conference finals games at home for the first time in a very long time. So, you know, they're definitely going to be pushing exactly how they were in this game. The biggest difference is the Canadiens, they, again, like as I said in Game 1, and as we saw in Game 1, the Canadiens have the skill offensively. They need to actually go and utilize that skill by being in the offensive zone and putting themselves in positions to succeed on the ice. And it all starts with, you know, just simple plays, right? We need to be better on the breakout, but get better at getting the puck out of our own zone. If we can get out of our own zone with a nice passing play and, you know, get a nice breakout going, cycle around, you know, be on the forecheck, be aggressive there, doing all those simple things, getting the pucks in deep, like that's, you know, the biggest hockey cliche of all time, but it's what we need to do. Like we need to find a way to just put, you know, these fancy plays aside and just get into the offensive zone and try to win a puck battle and get a puck to the net. That's just really all it is. Get some energy going. We need to get the smelling salts, you know, in between shifts or something like that if need be, but it just feels like the Canadiens are getting super overwhelmed by the pressure of the Canes, and we're not doing ourselves any favors by sitting in the defensive zone over and over again. So that's pretty much all I've got for this one. It's a frustrating one, but at the same time, we knew this was going to happen. We weren't going to go up 2-0 easily, you know. And on the bright side, we did take him to overtime, even in a game that was not very impressive at all. So it just really proves that the Canadiens are a solid team. They deserve to be here, and they're very much in a position where they can win this series. They just need to go out in Game 3 and prove that. So they're undefeated after a loss in these playoffs, and that remains true, you know, right now. And we have an opportunity to, you know, to put that to the test once again on home ice. So, you know, Game 3 is going to be a big one. It's going to be Monday night at the Bell Center. It's going to be a great opportunity, you know, to put some offense on, get some pucks on the net, score some goals, and get that 2-1 series lead here. So, again, that is pretty much all I have for you guys on this one. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. The Canadiens need to find a way to be a little bit more offensive, get into the offensive zone, get some pucks on net, shoot the dang puck. We need more than 12 shots, right? So, yeah. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Tough loss, but we'll get it back on Monday, and I will see you after the game.